A very good morning to you, Kenyan citizens. Welcome, and this is the Current Affairs segment, your trusted source for the latest news, insightful discussions, and impactful stories shaping our nation and beyond. I'm Angela Kabete, and together with Mr. Kimotho, will dive into the latest news and cover the truth behind what has been happening that is in our country and beyond. So make sure that you stay tuned as we break it down right here, right now. Mr. Kimotho, a very good morning to you.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Mazuri nimekuja naye leo ni gari.
Mazuri yako tutayaangalia tu.
Kuna mazuri? Usalimie watazamaji.
Kwa shukuru kwanza kwa vile wamekuwa pamoja na sisi kwa each and every show, na pia kuambiwa kaitu pale ili tuweze kuangalia ni yapi ambayo wanaangazia siku ya leo. Karibuni sana.
Okay. And before anything else, it is always the norm to give it that is the verse of the day. And today's verse comes from that is Matthew 25 verse 29, and I read this is what it says. For whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken away from them. This is very interesting. So hapo kwenye verse inaanza kwa kusema that whoever has, this refers to someone who uses what God has given them, okay? The talents, the gifts, the resources, the opportunities, the responsibility that God has given you. When you use it, what God has placed in your hand, what God will do, He will increase it. And when He increase it, it means that your capacity grows each and every day. Your blessings grow each and every day as a Christian and as a believer. And then it continues and say, will be given more, and they will have an abundance. It means that God rewards that is faithfulness. When you're faithful with what God has given you, when you're accountable, you're responsible with what God has given you, He rewards that is faithfulness. Alafu inaendelea kwa kusema whoever does not have. Now this refers to someone who has something but they don't use it. You know, you're hiding your gift, you're hiding your talent, you're not maximizing the opportunities or the resources that God has given you, or hiding it. That is failing, and God will take it away from you. Even what they have will be taken away from them. That is when you refuse to use what God has given you, He will take it away from you. So this is reminding us as believers, as Christians, that God increases anyone who uses what He has given us, but who doesn't use it. Apart from using it, if you waste any opportunity that God has given you, He will take it away from you. So ask yourself as a believer, the things that God has given me, the talents, the opportunities, the responsibilities, and everything, am I utilizing it well? Am I using it well so that God can increase it for me? Mr. Kimotho, what's your take on this?
What are you doing with what you have been given? That is also a question.
Yeah.
That we need also to ask ourselves. Because sometimes we misuse, sometimes we underrate what you have been given. Kwa sababu pale ukiangalia vile verse imesema, kile ambacho umepatiwa, kitumie namna gani. And wakati unakitumia vizuri, you will have more on it and more grace on it. So let us take care of what we have been given. Kwa sababu usipokitumia vizuri pia utaweza kunyang'anya.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that is the verse of the day. And now let's get over to what has been happening, because each and every day there are new stories, and it is a responsibility here to making sure that you as a Kenyan citizen, you stay updated of what is happening that is in our country and beyond. So we'll be so glad also if you get to interact with us, utuambie unatazama ukiwa wapi. That is on 0799200100, or you can use our social media handles, that is on Facebook and YouTube at Mizpah Tv Kenya, hashtag NURU Current Affairs. I have the Daily Nation with me.
I have the Standard newspaper.
And on today's Daily Nation, these are some of the highlights of what to be checking out. That is politics, and then the things when it comes to politics, that is the IVCs have been mentioned, and then Gachagua and Kalonzo Musyoka, and then tutangale that is matters to do with cybercrime. It seems that the people have to say something about it. Cybercrime law is defective. That is what the state agency tells Ruto. And then tutangale that is matters to do do with crime, education and other stories as well. What about you?
Yeah, kiangalia kwa gazeti la Standard siku ya leo, naona kuna some politics, kuna some other issues concerning the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, some other information ambayo naona hapa from the teachers na pia Ministry of Treasury na mambo ingine pia Hustler Fund.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're good we start with the Standard?
Okay, on Standard, kiangalia hapa kwa gazeti la Standard, inaona hapa kuna highlight ambao wameandika slave trade, that is a billions. Tumekuwa tukiona that is kuna a lot of people ambao wamekuwa kisik, that is makazi kule nje, na tumeona that is kumekuwa na wengi ambao wamepitia a lot of suffering. Kuna wengine ambao pia wamepitia a lot of rogue, that is agencies ambao wamekuwa wakiwa promise ya kwamba that is wataweza kuwafikisha kule, na wakifika kule wataweza kupata kazi. So kumekuwa na a lot of things ambayo imekuwa ikiendelea, na leo naona that is gazeti la Standard wameweza kuangazia the same issue, na pia nikiangalia hapa kuna statistics ambazo that is wameweza kutoa. Nikiangalia hapa that is ile title ambayo wameandika hapa slave, that is a trade billions, na that is nikiangalia hapa kwa gazeti kuna mwanadada ambaye alikuwa amekuwa held kule na alikuwa amekuwa detained by the employer kule Saudi Arabia, na pia kuna mwanadada mwingine pia hapa akitoa her story yale mambo ambayo aliweza kupitia pale. Nikiangalia hapa kwa statistics tunaona ya kwamba that is 1 in 10 Kenyan that is staffing companies are owned by a current or former political figure likely to undercount due to that is the ownership. That is 130, that is recruitees that is ambao pia wamekuwa akienda kule, na pia hapa nikiangalia kuna ile rating ambao pia wamekuwa akilipa, that is 26,000 to meet the training requirements. Sababu lazima ufanyie training, ufanyie orientation ya kule ambako unaenda na ile kazi utakuwa ukifanya na the expectation na mambo yale mengine. Then nikiangalia pia hapa kuna another statistics ambao wametoa 31,000, that is Kenyan domestic workers in Saudi Arabia that is earn about 31,000 shillings monthly, na pia na kuna wengine pia wana earn that is 52. So hizi ni some of the statistics ambazo naona hapa wameandika, na pia another figure ambao pia naona hapa wameandika one political, that is a connected agency ambao pia naona hapa imeweza kuangazia ili advertise 2,100, that is a Saudi jobs in October alone, na kwa ulingana na hiyo that is advertisement wakaweza that is to gain 260 million kwa recruitment just revenue. Hii tu ni recruitment ambayo huwa wanafanya. Wanajua sasa kazi yao wakishamaliza hiyo that is kazi yao ni kufanyia recruitment, wana connect, then ukifika kule then unakuta kuna mkataba mwingine ambao uko nao pale. But nikiangalia gazeti pia inaweza kuonesha yale mambo ambao wanapitia wakienda pale. Na ukiangalia hii kumekuwa na so many complaints, kumekuwa na a lot of issues concerning the same, and yet tukiangalia especially now the Ministry of the Foreign Affairs haijafanya yale ambayo yanatakikana sana ili kuweza kucontrol this situation, because I understand that is kama same for example kama ni wanabiashara that is kuna ile license ambayo unapatiwa na the county government. So whenever kuna kuwa na issue the county government itakuja kufanya inspection na wataona ya kwamba umehitimu all the requirements that are needed, then unaweza kupatia the license. So the same case na these agencies, they are supposed now kwamba now the ministry that is in charge, especially now the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, inafaa ifanye duly that is investigation ya hizi that is a agency, kwa sababu kuna mahali wanafika ukishafanyia training na wao bora tu wakufikisha to the other nation, unakuta sasa kuna mkataba mwingine. Nimekuwa kuna wengi wamekuwa wakilalamika sana ya kwamba wakati unafika mkataba ambao wanapatia pale uko in Arabic, so they cannot be able to understand ama nini hicho ambacho wana sign. So na unajua zile nation, some of these nation, mambo ya slavery na mambo yale mengine, hiyo ni kitu ambayo iko too common in their own nation. So ukifika pale unakuta ya kwamba zile terms and conditions ambazo ulikuwa umeambiwa ukiwa hapa, ukifika kule unakuta sio hizo. Unakuta passport yako inachukuliwa, all your documents inachukuliwa. So unakuwa ni kama you are owned by the person ambaye amekuwa ajiri. Na tumekuwa tukiona wengi that is amekuwa kipitia that is a harsh that environment, na pia kuna wengine pia bado ambao wamekufia huko, na wengine bado hadi wa leo familia zao hawajaweza kuwafikia. So this is a story ambayo Unaona miangazia na gazeti la Standard, na nikiangalia hapa wanasema that is abuse of Kenyans in Saudi Arabia has become that is documented for years. Women have been beaten, that is raped, locked indoors and thrown, that is from balconies. Abusers are often, go unpunished. So the Kenyan are better to protect them, but employment companies have persuaded the government to scale back the already that is a scant that is a protection. We want to ensure that you do you do a lot of business properly and quickly. That is now what according now Nona Motua told the recruiters as a private meeting last year. Pia tukiangalia hapa tunaona that is also Motua once declared that corruption in the staffing industry contributed to the abuse in Saudi Arabia. We have to break the cartels and streamline the agencies, some of which are owned by prominent politicians. Hii ni mambo ambayo aliyesema that is in 2022, and yet but tunaona that situation need also to be addressed, because ukiangalia na hapa story, ukiangalia history inaelezea vile watu ambao wakifika kule actually sometimes wana promisiwa that is pesa mingi wakifika, that is ile pesa ambayo utaweza kuwan yale mambo ya mambo mazuri ambayo utapatana nayo pale, because ukiangalia hapa the deal that is kama sasa 2023 kuna sasa awaka ambao pia alikuwa na unaona that is mambo yakamfanyikia pale, then akakuwa jail pale na wakaanza kuitishwa that is 1 million ile ambayo mwajiri alienda kuwashtaki nayo pale. So these are some of the things that needs to be addressed, because tumekuwa tukiona that is kumekuwa na so many initiative that is our Kenyan youth kutoka hapa ili waweze kuenda kufanya kazi pale. It is also a good move, but at the same time the ministry that is in charge inafaa ifanye that is vile ambavyo inafaa. Then the other question is that kama tuko na that is our ambassador that is to that nation, pia wanafaa wakae chini na the government of that place waweza kuangalia na address some of these issues, because it is very unhuman wakati mtu anatoka hapa akifika kule anateswa na yeye anafanya kazi, then at the same time tunaona ni kana kwamba hiyo masuala hayachukuliwi maanani. The same thing that we have been seeing the Ministry of Foreign Affairs ikiweza that is kuangaliwa kwa sababu ya masuala ya Wakenya ambao wanatoka outside the nation, ni mambo gani ambayo that is wanaweza kufanya, because tumekuwa tukiona that is the Ministry of Labor ambaye inaongozwa na Cabinet Secretary that is Alfred Mutua. Yeye amekuwa kijaribu that is kufanya yale nafaa, but they need now to come out clearly na pia waweze kuangalia masuala ya wale ambao wanafanya kazi, because kwa nini tu ni this nation just complain ambao wameenda US, ambao wameenda UK, ambao wameenda other nations but kiangalia sasa ni kama sasa these Arabic nation ndio zimekuwa na shida sana Saudi Arabia. So it is a story ambayo imeangazia hapa. Kuna wale ambao wanasema the suffering story. Tukiangalia pia hapa tunaona that is kuna wale ambao pia wamekuwa wakipitia recruitment process, but unakuta at the same time kuna wale ambao wana benefit, because ukiangalia now this recruitment agency ambayo imeangazia hapa for for kwa hizo miezi ambao wamekuwa kufanya recruitment, unakuta ya kwamba already wamesha gain 260 million ambayo imelipwa na hawa ambao wamejitolea kwenda. So it is something that also need to be addressed, na pia iweze kuangaziwa vizuri ili that is hii mambo ya human trafficking na slavery iweze kuangaliwa kwa ukamilifu.
Right, they should do something about it. And away from that, another story is that is page 1 of the Daily Nation. There is something that is really interesting here, and I don't know what happens when the rules of the game become the battlefront itself, because here this is that politics petitioners accused of the IBC of multiple violation through its centralized handling of presidential results. And you know Kenya is headed toward that is 2027 for the general election, and political tension is already rising. Concerns about that is electoral transparency, the IBC independence, and the credibility of presidential results have remained a major national debate since the previous election. Rising to push to change how elections results are told, transmitted, and declared, aiming to avoid that is controversies that have been seen. Now, the political figures that are mentioning right now, that is the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and Kalonzo, in bid to change that is 2027, that is poll rules. a coalition of senior political leaders has filed a constitutional petition seeking to reform how IEBC handles that is presidential results, and now they want that is stricter laws of transmission, tallying, and gazettement of polling stations to enhance that is fairness. And there are some of the proposals, actually there are 5 that they have been mentioned here, and I'm going to read them briefly. Number 1, IEBC must gazette all poll stations, as I've read, months before elections to curb ghost stations and ensure transparency. Mambo ya ghost education. It's being overused, I don't know. And then you have that is number 2. IEBC must publish and unveil the final voters registration register 3 months before elections and allow scrutiny and prevent irregularities. Number 3, IEBC be prohibited from retallying or altering presidential results at the National Tallying Center after constituency declarations. And then number 4, IEBC must reconcile all ballots used, spoiled, and used at polling stations before transmitting results to prevent discrepancies. And lastly, that is number 5, IEBC to design a results transmission system where constituencies declarations are final and reconciliation precedes electronic results submission. Sounds like a good thing, but is it that they're scared something might happen? I don't know why, but it sounds like a good thing. And they say leveling the playing field, and just read this is a coalition between that is the former deputy president and the Wiper boss, that is Kalonzo Musyoka, and that story is on page 4 and 5. Let's head over there and see what they have to say. We are on page 4 and 5, and this petition accuses the IEBC of violating that is multiple constitutional provisions through its centralized handling of presidential results at the National Tallying Center. And the National Tallying Center should be only collate and announce the results it received when constituencies are not verified, change, or reject. That is what they said. Also, they say they have cited that the IEBC's repeated failure to gazette polling station within reasonable timelines, sometimes until just week before elections, as a major threat to transparency. They highlighted what happened that is in 2022. According to them, this is a concern. So let's see what will happen. If the things that they have mentioned here, they are going to be implemented. That is e-petition electoral, that is the DCP, that is Rigathi Gachagua, and then that is the Wiper boss Kalonzo, Kalonzo Musyoka. Yeah.
Unajua is also the same story I can see in page 2 of Standard. Na lazima watu wajipange mapema. Because in Kenya usipojipanga utapangwa. So that's all unaona nao walianza kuweza kupeleka petitions, because the electoral process imekuwa ikichange. Na since now we have the new constitution, pia the new constitution iliweza kupeana guideline ya vile ambavyo that is the results that is zinafaa ziwe, because wakati the results zinatoka pale to the polling station zinaenda to the constituency that is a level, then from there zinapelekwa now to the county tallying center, from the county tallying center, so then from there sasa zinaweza kwenda now that is to the national tallying center. So hii ni petition ambao that is the united opposition wameweza kupeleka pale kotini, na that is kuna zile argument ambazo onini that is wako nazo. So the leaders argue that is a retallying results creates an opportunity for that is a potential manipulation. So what they are saying is that once the results zimekuwa that is zimekuwa announced that is pale to the polling station, hizo results hazifai kuwa altered now that is to the national tallying center, sababu hapa ndio wanaona ni kana kwamba unaweza kuwa that is na some issues. Na ukiangalia hapa kulingana na gazeti vile ambavyo wanasema now the petitioners walikuwa wakipeleka kesi yao kule kotini, wanasema the position want that is to restrict the presidential that is a contest to the constituencies. This move is relevant it is revealed in the case filed through the High Court, sababu hii kesi yao iko pale High Court, na the opposition that is by United Opposition Leaders, that is tunaona that is kuna Kalonzo Musyoka, kuna Rigathi Gachagua, kuna Fred Matiang'i, kuna Mithika Linturi and Justin that is Muturi. In the case that is filed before now, that is a High Court, that is a High Court judge, that is Lawrence Mugambi, the United Opposition Coalition, that is they argue that once the results are that is collected at the polling stations and announced at the constituency, the National Tallying Center ought to adopt the same numbers without alteration or retallying. Because unajua sasa wakati wa election, that is kwa every polling station ama polling center, kuna zile announcements zinakuwa pale, na hapo kuna that is a returning officer, kuna deputy returning officer, kuna wale that is wale clerks wa IBC wako pale, na pia kuna all the agents wa all the candidates wako pale. So hawa wanaagia kwamba zile results ambazo zitatoka pale ziweze sasa kuenda kutangazwa pale to the constituency level, zisiwe changed at all. So that is the argument ambao wameweza kupeleka pale, na that is ili waweza kupatia that is ile guideline ambayo that is wataweza kupata pale. Na tukiangalia hapa further wanasema the creation of a separate superior process exclusively for presidential results, it is something ambayo wanaona ni kama itakuwa discriminatory practice that lacks the legitimate, that is a constitution, that is a objective. Na outline yao pia unaweza kuangalia that is kwa the constitution, that is election outline in the article 86 ambao wanasema that is kuna yale that is mambo ambayo yameangaziwa pale. Also in the same time they are also saying that they also need that all the polling stations, all the polling centers zikuwe announced ama zijulikane mapema to avoid now yale mambo ambayo tumekuwa tukiona, because the other time pia tumekuwa tukiona wale ambao wamekuwa kipeleka kesi zao kotini wamekuwa wakisema mambo ya that is the ghost polling stations. Remember that is most of our schools ndizo zinatumika kama the polling centers ama polling station, most of them, because pia kuna other institutions ambazo zinatumika pale. So kama kumekuwa na ghost school ambazo tumekuwa tukiona, there are likely scenarios that the same thing may that is a replicate. So that's why now wanasema that is wanataka hiyo mambo ikuwe announced. So but we are yet to see now the regulations na pia the outline kulingana na the constitution, because pia now IBC wataweza that is kuweza kutoa mtazamo wao kulingana na vile inafaa.
Okay.
Yeah.
And away from that is on the Daily Nation, other stories. Matters to do with that is cybercrime and law defective. That is some of one of the highlights that I had mentioned. And you know, Kenya has increasingly faced issues like that is online fraud, hate speech, and digital scams. And now the government introduced that is the cybercrime laws. Though some have criticized it for either being too weak or punitive, and that's why on the Daily Nation the headline reads that as cybercrime law is defective. That is what the state is telling Ruto, that is the president, and the pressure is mounting on the President William Ruto to reconsider the continuous provisions of the controversial Computer Misuse and the Cybercrime Act. The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights termed the new law legally defective and affront to freedom of expression and right to privacy. This state agency said some of its provision risks criminalizing legitimate criticism and dissent. That is what they had to say about it, and that story is in page 2. Let's check it out. Yeah, we're on page 2, and they say that rights body piles in the pressure on Ruto over the cybercrime law that was passed, and the government watchdog body has appealed the executive and the parliament to review and amend the overboard provisions in the law, which they said risks criminalizing and criticism and dissent. They said this in the presence of the Senate, that is what they have to say about it. And the Kenya Law Society and the Kenya Human Rights Commission filed a separate petition seeking a declaration that several provisions of the Act in the direct violation are inconsistent with that is Article 31 of the Constitution, Section 25 and 27. Basically, it's on data protection, and some of them says that is Mr. Martin Pepela say that this is dangerous because it undermines the rule of law and creates opportunities for abuse and enforcement. That is matters to do with cybercrime and law, especially on the bill that was passed by your president. Some of them think that it is weak, punitive, or defective. Yeah.
Okay.
Other stories, you have something?
So on other stories, Hustler Fund, na sijui ni wangapi wamechukua na walipi. So
aje walipe daily.
Hustler Fund watu wanafaa wajue kwamba iko grant.
Yeah.
Unafaa ulipe. Unajua wakati that is ilikuwa introduced, people were so much eager. I remember even the president alikuwa na initiate people vile ambavyo wataenda. Na wengi walisema tulikuwa tunajaribu, president venye alikuwa atuambia tufanye na tukaona zimeingia. Sasa hatukuwa tunajua kama tunafaa turudishe. Hakutuambia process venye.
Never disappoint.
So kuna audit that is a report ambayo imetoka na mambo ya Hustler Fund. That is MP's fears that 12.6 billion may be lost as Hustler Fund CEO fails to account. So nikiangalia hapa, that is the Hustler Fund CEO, that is Henry Tanui, ambaye aliappear that is before the National Assembly Special Funds Accounts Committee jana, ili aweze that is ku account, kwa sababu hapo wanasema ya kwamba that is following revelations by the Hustler Fund Chief Executive Officer Henry Tanui, who yesterday told MPs that out of 14 billion allocated to the fund by the National Treasury, only 1.5 billion was revolving. I'm telling you, our nation tuko na pesa, because 14 billion ndiyo ambayo ilikuwa imetolewa kufanya maneno ya Hustler Fund.
We have money.
And according now to our population, kiangalia population ambayo tuko nayo, so kama kila mtu angeweza kuapply hiyo fund, kila mtu angeweza kupata kanyamu pale, ningekuwa mambo mzuri sana. Now out of 14 billion, only 1.4 billion was revolving, meaning hiyo ndio imekuwa ikicirculate, ile ambayo watu wanachukua, wengine wanarudisha, wengine wanafanya nini, hiyo ndio pesa ambayo imekuwa ikirevolve. So kuna hii 12.6 billion ambayo that is even the CEO huyo ambaye Henry Tanui ameshindwa ku account for. That's why now that is now the National Assembly Committee ambayo inahusikana na special funds wameanza sasa nao that is kuweka ile that is inquiry ili waweze kujua hizi pesa zingine zimeenda wapi. So ambaye that is now the CEO alikuwa ameapia jana, na he was expected to respond to the 21 audit queries regarding the fund. So among the queries was the exact amount of money loaned out. Sababu unajua yes, hizi ndio funds ambazo ziliko pale, ni pesa ngapi ambazo zimekuwa loan out. Here the one of the thing ambayo alifaa kufanya, how much have been repaid since the funds inception, and whether any money has been lost. In the pesa ambayo that is iliweza kutolewa, hawa ni ambao waliloan, ambao wameloan ni wangapi wamerudisha. That is na hayo ndio maswali ambao that is anafaa jibu, na ni ngapi ambazo zimepotea, na zile ambazo zimepotea ni wale ambao wamechukua the loan hawajaweza kurudisha. Na pia unajua bado pia tuliweza kuona wakati pia ilikuja kachenjiwa, that is kuna another percentage ukichukua inawekwa kwa savings. So kuna haya maswali yote ambayo that is anafaize that is kuelezea. So the committee session however took a dramatic turn after the CEO failed to satisfactorily answer the queries, Mary insisting that no money has been lost. So he also failed to table documents containing details of the funds beneficiaries as previously directed by the committee. So that is appearing here with no that is a query or answers is a mockery of the committee. This is an oversight committee. When you say no money was lost, was lost, I think you do not live in our country, because now who is sasa ni that is the committee chairperson ambaye ni Migori, that is a women representative Fatuma Mohamed, ambaye ndiye alikuwa anamuuliza kwa sababu hauwezi sema ya kwamba hakuna pesa imepotea and yet bado mnasema kuna watu ambao hawajalipa. Wale ambao hawajalipa, hiyo that is hiyo inafaa ikuwe documented as some of the money ambazo ziko ni kama zimepotea kwa sababu bado hazijarudishwa kwa wakati ambao unafaa. So these are some of the queries ambao that is now wanakuwa expected, na pia waweze kutoa the exact list ya wale the beneficiaries, na pia waweze kuangalia that is now the report especially ya wale ni kina nani ambao wamekuwa loaned na maneno mengine kama hayo. So now this is something ambayo imekuwa ikiendelea pale, because ukiangalia nao kama that is 1.4 billion ndio imekuwa ikirevolve, imekuwa that is ikiendelea. So inamaanisha the 12.6 billion wanafaa explain mahali iko, ndio kama iko mahali inaweza rudishwa maybe to other departments, because wakati unatoa this amount of money na this is na hii ndio watu wameboro, inamaanisha hiyo watu wameboro ndio ile walikuwa wanahitaji. So the rest inafaa rudishwa now to the ministry that is of treasury, iweze now maybe kwenda capitation ya mashule, iweze maybe pengine kwenda kwa mahospitali, na iweze kufanya mambo mengine ambayo yanafaa. Yes. Okay.
And a little bit of politics, specifically when it comes to the ODM party, because you know it has been the spotlight since the death of the of the former Prime Minister, that is Raila Odinga. And they said that dilemma: Oburu's loyalists allege a plot by external forces to use some party members to rock the party from within, while call for NDC could plunge the Orange Party into more division. And on what I've mentioned about the loyalist already claims that there is a plot by external forces. So I don't know who are the external forces. To use the some party members to rock the outfit from within. The demand for the party to hold NDC, the pro-broad-based arrangement team says, is a part of the broader scheme to push the party into divisive elections, with an end game of having the 20-year-old party into the 20-year-old party go into the 2027 polls as fragmented outfit. And the article, there is an article that they have mentioned here. The article on matters to do with that is choosing the person who will take lead of the ODM. The article provides that in the event of the party leader is unable to take charge of the duties or death, resignation, or where he or she ceases to be the party member or a member of the party to be a leader, a member of parliament, or a special session, the national delegate conference must be held to elect a new party leader. But some of the ODM leaders have publicly challenged the leadership of that is the interim leader, Oburu Odinga, including that is Winnie Odinga. Let's see what will happen, because we saw there is a statement that Winnie Odinga gave during their celebration of the 20th anniversary, and alisema the broad-based relationship is complicated. Those managing it now are capable, because it's only one Baba Raila Odinga who could manage it. So what does this really mean for ODM? Because she's not saying a yes or a no, but she's saying that it's complicated. Let's see what will happen. And tunaona hapa pia they have mentioned that some of the leaders of in the ODM they're not agreeing with that is the broad-based government. And they say that currently the ODM is caught between two political camps, one of which is backing President Ruto and another is opposing to the memorandum of understanding that is the MOU between the ODM and the UDA. So let's see what will happen about it. And then those who are opposing, they're called a vocal faction. They caution a vocal faction, insisting on caution, independence, and returning to Mr. Odinga's social democracy. That includes Edwin Sifuna, Senator James Orengo, Winnie, and the youthful firebrands like Mr. Owino. So let's see what will happen. Will this divide the party, or this will this unite them? Because tumeona that is the interim leader anasema the external forces, but it did not mention what the external forces. I don't know if there are other political leaders. We don't know about it.
you see, sustain a political party for more than 20 years. Sio rahisi.
Yeah.
Actually inajisa kitambo watu walikuwa wanaona KANU ilikuwa ime for those years. Then sasa tumekuwa sasa na other parties, yeah, like ODM, that is Jubilee, UDA, Wiper na zile zingine. But right now ODM imekuwa ikiangaziwa sana. Pia nikiangalia hapa gazeti la Standard linasema Ida quietly shapes ODM succession amid rising party leadership. So mama Mama Ida Odinga, widow of a former ODM that is a leader, Raila Odinga, is reportedly pulling strings behind the scene to support her daughter Winnie Odinga and other that is outspoken leaders advocating for an orderly party transition. Na ukiangalia that is kulingana na yale mambo ambayo Winnie alisema, we need to go back to the people and have NDC. That is what she said, because kuna ile democracy, na democracy of each and every place, all the power belongs now to the people, na wale ambao ni delegates ambao ni ODM. So ni kitu ambayo that is hii chama sasa inaanza kujialign, na wakati inajialign kuna kila mtu ambaye amekuwa pale anaona ni kama that is anatoshea that is kuongoza ama in other leadership position. Ukiangalia wengine wengi wakati wanaongea kila mtu anasema baba aliniambia, baba alisema, tulikuwa na yeye alikuwa anasema. So kuna yale mambo ambayo yamekuwa yakiendelea because the political that is organs ya ODM ita change, na ikichange definitely kutakuwa na some shake up ambazo zimekuwa pale, and also at the same time pia kutakuwa na ile durability that is na time period ya tuone kama mambo ya broad based government kama itaendelea.
Exactly. Yeah. And I guess that is what we had to check out today on what has been happening and what has been shaping our nation, right?
Yes.
You also need to tell us, our viewers as we wind up.
Just to tell them kuna a lot of stories. Na pia kuna a lot of some of the changes in some of the county governments. Ukiangalia hapa kuna public notice ya county government ya mambo na changes na revenue na other advertising. So it's always good to grab your copy. That is anaweza kuangalia ni yapi ambao wanasema. And also at the same time to say thank you so much kwa vile mmekuwa pamoja na sisi na mkuwe na siku njema yenye baraka. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in for today's show. Just a quick reminder that Mizpah House of Prayer will be hosting, that is the annual prophetic prayer congress that will be happening this coming month, that is from the 1st to the 5th of December 2025. I'll be having great and powerful servants of God who will be there to minister and impact us with more grace. And I don't know what is that one thing that umekuwa ukitamania Mungu akufanyie. What is that one miracle umekuwa ukiomba Mungu akufanyie? There are a lot of things that you'll be asking from God. And this I believe that this congress will be a time of transformation and you receiving your miracle. It is an interdenominational meeting. All people from all age groups, all churches, nyinyi wote mekaribishwa. Kwa hivyo tell a friend to tell a friend, and let's gather together and let's partake what God has intended for us to receive. For accommodation and booking, please contact 07-277-66553. This segment has been sponsored by Mirugi Karaoke and Co-Advocates, that was founded that is in 1979 by the late Honorable that is Mirugi Karaoke. It deals with diverse areas including land disputes, conveyance, that is buying, selling and transfer of properties, banking and security perfection, succession, family law and wills, commercial disputes, and insurance and personal injury. My name is Angela Kabete. Till next time, may God bless you abundantly. Have a blessed day ahead. Bye-bye.